William goes through phases with how he spends his evenings. Last summer these were all about his trampoline, but this year he's been much more interested in what's at the front of our house. This nearly always starts with some time in Mummy's car, which he doesn't see so much during the day. There are sometimes a few tense moments before this when I try to find the keys, testing William's patience. In the car, William likes to sit in all the seats, try out different positions, and sometimes even climb into the boot. After we spent enough time in our little oven, William often leads me on a short walk. I've tried to put his shoes on for this, but it tends to dampen the moment for William, so we usually just go in bare feet and socks, and just stick to our block. Although William leads me on this walk, within the first 100 metres he'll often want to be carried on my shoulders, and within another couple of minutes he'll grab my shoulder, which means dummy please. These are little comforts I'm happy to give him if it makes his walk feel easier. There is usually a little dash as we near the end now. Today William also wanted to look in our garage, so he checked out his new sensory space here. He hasn't used this loads yet, but it's a nice option for some sensory fun. After a very little bit of relaxing, it was time for William's bath, one thing at least that has remained pretty constant in our evenings. His mummy does this, while I do some tidying and washing up downstairs. There wasn't much to do as this was a Friday, the day my wife and I attempt to have a takeaway after William is asleep, so it was only William who had eaten. After what always sounds like a very exciting bath, I was back with William. He seemed pretty tired tonight, probably due to having a fairly early start in the morning, but we still had our usual bedtime activities, watching his tablet, which turned into having a look at some books. William doesn't quite engage with these in a typical way. He does often like to hear us read them to him, but we will stop and repeat certain parts, like a particular sound on his Noisy Dinosaurs book. There's also a couple of particular pages in his Very Busy Spider book that we have to focus our attention on. And there's a page he likes to view stood up in his Sea Under the Sea book. After all these little self-soothing touches, and following him taking his melatonin, William seemed ready for sleep.
Play Mozart piano sonatas.
I put on some quiet Mozart music for this period, which many studies suggest can reduce seizures. As is pretty common, William had a couple of small seizures as he was falling asleep, which woke him up for a bit, but he was down again soon later, at the very respectable time of 9 p.m. This gave my wife and me plenty of time to live out our very old Friday evening routine, having our takeaway.